like one piece so that like people be like get like wet in the drawers and buy it or something. In the very beginning. If you're getting too hot, you can just get like naked. It's not like illegal here, right? Then we just do a selfie and then like all of us will get famous. Isn't that how you get famous? By taking your clothes off on like social media? Is that what Kim Kardashian did? So how about this global like immigration shit, man? It's like they're like fucking with like everybody who's trying to cross the border now. It's like they've decided, okay, we've had enough workers. We have enough people in our own country to exploit, so we do not need to import anymore. So Australia is like cracking down. I mean, the fucking DR. Like DR is not even like one of those countries that can boast the fucking like fucked up identity of being first world. But you're going to like stop people from coming if you're going, what the fuck is that? Like neighbors, you know what I mean? What if we started, preventing Canadians from coming to the US? That's not really fun. It's so interesting, like, I mean, when you just like throw like a real ridiculous idea out there, people are like, what? Because all of your faces were like, what the fuck is she talking about? Why would that be a thing? Yeah, but it's interesting like how people, like even the most progressive of us, how we think of, fuck man. Can see how long I haven't read anything. Why you don't find it? So my kid is, Zuri, can you turn around and say hi to everybody? Like that always gives me mad sympathy. Has anybody read this book?
Yes.
I'm trying to find. Okay, so I wasn't there yet, so it must be before that. I wasn't there yet, so it must be before that. No, I walked right in and I'm like, yes, I think I found it. Okay, so it was before that. This reading had better be good. Okay. This is in the church where my brother and I fight.
And he goes sledding.
And what?
He goes sledding.
Right. See, motherfucker. I knew it that well. I was I cannot find it. I mean, I wrote it. I promise you, I wrote it. All right, let's just go to the other section I was going to read. All right. So, skip all of like the terrible life, mother abandoned, you work really hard in school, you're biracial, you live with a black family. It's complicated because they're mistreating you, but, so there's like a lot of shit. Like there's some like sociopolitical shit going on, blah, 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 blah. And then I work really hard and get a scholarship to university and to get, so I'm at university and I walk in and I'm like, oh my God, it's so sexy in here. All of these fucking like sexy intellectuals, also sexy. People that have like, short hair that's like colored all kind of funny colors. People walking around smelling like patchouli with like head wraps, with like fucking natural hair. Discussions are happening in class like, is this a chair? You know what I mean? Like, am I here? Are you dreaming me? Am I dreaming you? Dreaming me? Dreaming me? You? I'm taking like philosophy 101 classes. I'm like all into like the whole philosophy shit, psychology. It's all like sexy. It's like, oh my God, this is so like interesting, And all the girls that are in my class are really interesting because they're like questioning things. And I myself, I've been raised a good Christian girl. I found the courage to like leave the fucking like church behind at 16 or so. I'm like, listen, this shit is not for me. Jesus seemed just to be looking out for the boys. I'm not really into that shit, so like I'm gonna try some shit new. I'm not sure what I'm gonna try, but I'm at university. It's also sexy. Women are like, you know, smelling like mad patchouli. You know, like you know, the natural hair, the whole sandal, the whole like, you know, it's like, how are you? No, how are you? All of this is happening on campus. Just mad sexiness. And we're all at that age, you know, like 21, 22, when your nipples are basically poking everybody in the eye. Your flesh is just like, you know, at the peak of its like, please look at me, and if you would like to stroke me, it's a possibility. You know? So I go into like the class, and they're discussing all kinds of things like, you know, society is constructed, and like humanity is constructed, and every fucking thing is constructed, you know, and I'm feeling like all deep, you know what I mean? We're discussing fucking Descartes and like fucking like everything. It's just like, it's so sexy, everything is just so super sexy, and then somebody says to me, you should listen to this girl, her name's Anne Franco. And then, oh, there's this other girl called like Sarah McLachlan, and Tony, like you know, Tracy Chapman, and like, you know, just all of this shit, like, and then maybe like you hear one song where you're like, did she say she? And so you like, you know, rewind the tape and like play again, and you're like, I think it's she said she. No, but maybe it's C. No, but I think it's she. Does it mean blah blah blah? So this is just going on. And somebody in the class, I remember the moment when somebody's like, I think that, you know, sexuality is constructed. And I was like, the fuck is she talking about? Everybody knows God made Adam and Eve. I mean, that's what the fuck he said he made. In the fucking Bible, that is what he said. He made Adam and he made Eve. Right? They're supposed to match. All my life I've been told they match, right? Then, you know, I've questioned it, but you know, what were the other choices? I mean, really, what were the other choices? They were not given to me in conversation or any other thing. And then I was like, oh, okay, and then somebody's like, you know, I mean, you know, even the idea of a deity is constructed. I'm like, Jesus Christ, let me move sideways. Somebody is gonna get fucking struck by lightning. Not going to be me, thank you very much. And then, you know, this is just going on, and I remember, you know, the exact moment I knew I was a gay. Because I'm sitting in the class, and you know, all of us are angsting about all this, you know, philosophy and whatever, because you know, everybody wants to deconstruct their reality, because nobody's really happy with their reality unless they're in the first 3 months of a relationship, right? Basically, by the time you reach month 6, you're like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing here? How can I get out? And they've gone ahead and fucking legalized marriage and all. Which means I no longer have a ready excuse. So everybody wants to deconstruct their reality, right? So I'm like in the middle of like, you know, the angsting, the trying to deconstruct, you know, I'm in love with all the girls with glasses because, you know, whatever, they just like look like they would just be like crazy librarian or whatever. I don't know, whatever. So I'm like there, we're doing the whole like, we're doing the whole whatever, and one girl is chewing on a pencil, and she's chewing on a pencil and she's talking about Descartes and desire. I remember like feeling like when she said the word desire, like something like fell from like my stomach to like my vagina. And I couldn't understand why she was like, and I remember the loop in my head, you know, like, you know, because if I was being interviewed by Oprah, she would say, Staceyann, that was your aha. I kept hearing, I mean, I literally heard the sentence in my head, like, I wish I was that pencil. I wish I was that pencil. She was like really going. And I was like, oh God, like, if I was that pencil, I mean, I'd be happy, right? So I went outside and I was like, oh my God, I'm having a crisis of conscience. What's going on with me? Like, you know, my vagina is wet. Why would my vagina be wet when she's talking about desire? Like, I mean, can anyone explain it to me? Like, I don't understand. Like, why would my vagina be wet? So, I mean, you know, I kind of come to the conclusion, I guess, that I'm a gay. And my very good friend Raquel was in Jamaica at the time at university, and you know, I was really dying for somebody to come out to, and I was like, I have to come out to somebody. Somebody should know. Sorry. So, you know, I have to come out to somebody. I have to tell fucking somebody I'm a gay, right? Because you know, you can't really hold on to that kind of secret for so long because you know, when I tell you that it's gonna give you like, I don't know, fucking goiter. I don't know. Hold on to a secret too long, it makes itself into your nipples start to get like, you know, green. You know, your emissions from your vagina start to become purple. You know, when you poop, you can't stay in the bathroom with it because it is so foul. I mean, like, that's what happens when you're like holding on to something too much. So I instinctively knew that something had to like, you know, I had to vomit the damn thing out of me at some point. So I'm like, Raquel, meet me in so and so and so. So we're like, she meets me, and I'm like, okay, I just have to tell you that I just have to tell you that I'm sort of maybe you know, I'm you know, I have a thing for. I mean, I think I like girls. And she goes, oh my god, I like girls too. And then I was like, oh my god, how unusual is that? That I'm a gay and you're a gay and that we've been friends forever and like blah blah blah. And we're like, and now that I'm older, I'm like, it's not that. Birds of a fucking feather, right? Like the two of you have been best friends since like, you know, since we're 3 or 4 years old. You know, the gay thing is definitely like kind of like a magnet thing. Like 7 of you were all of you gay. Like 10 years later, you're like, what are the chances? So I become pretty comfortable with the, you know, like, you know, I become like the person on campus who's like introducing themselves like, hi, I know, pussy, I know, yeah. I get upset because this is Jamaica in the mid-90s, early 90s, you know, so it's like violently homophobic Jamaica, and I'm like, you know, but I am of the belief that people who are studying in a tertiary level institution ought to be so evolved as to not to be victims of the violence of homophobia and its idiocy, right? So I'm thinking like all of us are like mad intellectual, we are talking about like whether you're here, whether the chair is here, like whether God is here, whether sexuality is constructed. I cannot imagine that people, so I'm like, yeah, I'm protected. I'm not out there with these fucking like uneducated like motherfuckers who like would run me down with a fucking machete, right? I am above that behavior. I have like evolved out of poverty. These poor people with no moral compass, I've left them behind. I am now evolved and with the people with degrees, and degrees are synonymous with morals, right? And compassion. Is that true? Right. So this is where I am, and so I come out really loud, and then like, you know, a fucking bunch of like, but anyways, I'll tell you what happened. This is how loud I am on campus. As class provocateur, I read ahead, take notes, just so I can pick arguments with the girls I find attractive. Most of them just ignore me, except for Tanya, who giggles when I tell her, I'm not so sure you're as smart as you are as pretty. One evening after class, she invites me back to her dorm room. The walk across the campus is so tense. Neither of us saying much. Are you familiar with such a situation? When we get to her room, she locks the door behind her and asks, so what do you want to do? I'm not sure what to say. So I tell her, whatever. I mean, anything you want to do is fine with me. I sit on her bed and watch her change into t-shirt and shorts. I get the feeling that she's flirting with me, but I'm not really sure. Then she sits next to me and she puts her hand on my leg. I pull her to me and I place my lips against hers. I spend 2 hours in Tanya's room that afternoon. I want to make love, but she tells me, I'm not a lesbian. When I try to tell her how much I like her, she laughs and says, Staceyann, I'm just curious. This is an experiment. I chose you because people, you know what people say about you. They say you're that way, but don't get too attached, man. During class, I fantasize about having sex with Tanya. I keep hoping she will invite me to her room again, but she doesn't. And I spend the night crying and writing copious numbers of love letters I know I will never send. Then I wonder if I'm just curious too. Maybe I just want to sleep with a girl so I can get to say that I did sleep with a girl, or just so I can say like I did try. But I'm not convinced when I spend the days hoping that Tanya or Belinda or Francine will take a chance and invite me up to the dorms to experiment. But everyone seems a little afraid or disgusted, even the ones who start out flirting with me. When Brant, my best boyfriend, and I have to tell you about the trio, there were three of us. There was Annabella, Brant, and me. And I'm like desperately in love with Annabella. Annabella is desperately in love with Brant. And Brant is desperately in love with me. Every walking moment together. I don't know how many of you are old enough to know the movie Threesome. We went to it together, all three of us. When Brant catches me watching the pretty English major Serana, he pokes me with his pencil. I see you've transferred your order again, Miss Chin. It's such a good thing I'm not too attached to you. You're so disloyal. Oh, shut the fuck up. No need to get your knickers in a bunch, man. I know, I'm sorry, Brant, but you're not the only one saying things. By this, everyone is like chatting about me. Like there's a lot of whispers going on, like the boys are in there, like mobs are beginning to like say shit to me when I go across the campus. Shit is going on, it's going crazy. It's okay, Brant says, but truth is you're only acting like an adolescent boy. And it's only because you're frustrated. God almighty, frustrated is not the word, Brant. I'm going to start raining mad here. Everybody wants to flirt with me, but nobody wants to like do for the fucking goods. And when you never had sex before and you want to have it with a woman, it's like I don't know. It's like heroin, you're an addict and you're on this side, and every girl that walks by, you're just panting like, okay, maybe she'll do it with me. The only time in my life that I have ever felt this kind of like indiscriminate desire is when I was trying to get pregnant, and like every man who walks by, I'd be like, I should hold him down and just like jerk him off and like collect his sperm.
She's serious. She is serious.
So you're really interested in this lesbian thing, eh? Brent asks. I'm not a lesbian, I say. If I'm anything, I might be bisexual, and just might. Okay, so if you're so bisexual, how come you're not attracted to any boys? Well, I mean, I have been, in the past. I'm not attracted to anyone right now, any boy right now. I don't even know if this bisexual thing is really serious. Maybe I'm interested in exploring. Really, sorry, and okay. So anyways, we quarrel, we fight, Brenton, we go through this whole bisexual blah 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 thing. And he finally says, if you're so interested in being a lesbian, why you don't just go and be in New York City? Just get up and just go visit. I hear when it is that you throw a rock in New York City, you lick 7 lesbians with the one rock, right? So thick is the lesbian, population in New York that yes, whatever. So I buy a ticket and I decide to go to New York City. When the plane lands, the New York City lights blink in code, as if they're saying, welcome to the city, Staceyann. I'm staying with my mother's older brother David in the projects in Brooklyn. The dim hallways reek of urine, and the noise of boys fighting and sirens outside the window is unbearable. One night, when I'm taking the garbage to the incinerator, a tall fat man with a runny nose offers me $20 to give him a blowjob. I drop the garbage in the hallway and scream for my Uncle David, who comes barreling out the front door with a knife. The fat man quickly ambles away before I can find the words to say what happened. My Uncle David hugs me and warns me to avoid the other people who live in the apartment. I spend the hot and humid days roaming the city. $1.25 gets me anywhere on the subway. And in New York is in the house. It's now like $2.75. And I love to stand stand on the platform and watch the gigantic metal structure squeal to a halt. Then I hop into the middle car and attempt small talk with other passengers. Hi. My name is Staceyann, and what's your name? People look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Only the other tourists talk to me. In Indian Square, I meet a man who was born in South Africa of Dutch parents, raised in London. His wife is Somalian, and they're both moving to Italy after their summer vacation in New York and Toronto. I feel cosmopolitan just talking to him. The chic Asian girls in Banana Republic jackets quickly rush by me. Caribbean restaurants, slim dark men in leather suits, pornographic bookstores, black girls with afro mohawks, white girls with pink hair line the streets. One afternoon I venture into a bar called the Stonewall Inn. A white man dressed in a blonde wig and women's clothing offers to buy me a drink. So where are you from, honey? His voice is husky and his mascara is running, so he looks a bit like a raccoon in sequin evening wear. I sip my ginger in and I whisper, I'm from Jamaica. I'm Jamaican. Oh God, I had a Jamaican lover once. He had the biggest dick I'd ever seen. I always had to stay in bed after we fucked. I couldn't walk. You should have seen me, honey. I would be laid out like a dead body for days. And we had to leave him when it got ridiculous. He wanted to fuck me every day. I think I'd be in a wheelchair if I kept up with that boy. Now me, I think it's the most intimate thing in the whole wide world. Not that you would care, you're a lesbian, right? I wouldn't say exactly, I'm not sure. I mean, I have feelings, but I mean, I don't. Oh, Jesus Christ. You ain't gotta know just yet. You're young, you'll figure it out. Or maybe you won't, but whatever it is, just fucking go with it. This is fucking New York City, you can be anything you goddamn wanna be. Not one of them little maybe I'm a dyke, maybe I'm not a dyke. I see a little tidbit I need to go swallow up in that corner. There's something thrilling about the way he said fuck and dick out loud in public. In Jamaica, I could get killed for talking about the things I want to do to a woman. I'm almost halfway through my trip when I discovered the bookstores. A Different Light, Oscar Wilde, the Revolutionary Bookstore, the People's Republic of Anti-Imperialist Literature. The names on the book, on the signs draw me in. I find a volume of short stories with the true lesbian love stories. And I have to tell you about these true lesbian love stories, right? Two fucking like Montana lesbians, right? In wherever the fuck they are in Montana, right? They are in fucking Montana. They are like chilling. They're like, you know, having this secret affair for like maybe 2 days or whatever. And then they decide they're gonna like confront their parents, right? They're gonna confront their families and force them to accept who they are. And they go and they confront them, and the family is like, you know, the mother is like, oh my God, you're my daughter, I love you anyways. And then the father is like a little bit stony at first, but then like he gets a little tear, and then he's like all great, and they come out, and it's fabulous, and then they have like a fucking like wedding, and everybody comes, and it's great, and I'm like, yes, I'm going home to Jamaica to come out after coming together. Because, you know, I mean, how many times, I mean, I don't know if anybody else, but how many times have you read stories about people, like maybe like rich white people? And then you're like, I'm going to live the same way. I'm going to go home and tell my Muslim grandmother that I hate Brazil and she should just learn to accept it. This is exactly what's going to happen in my life. Because I am following the coming out book. This is the advice they give me on coming out, so I'm going to take the advice. I'm going to get brave as a motherfucker and I'm going to like, go home. And I go home and I came out to Raquel, and it went kind of well because, you know, she was like a gay as well. And then like I came out to like, you know, Branton, Annabella, and they were like, oh, sure, yeah, you didn't know. And then I came out to one other person, and then it got weird, and then I came out to another person, and then it got weirder, and then like the circle of violence started to begin in terms of the way that people spoke to me. They started to like, you know, people like saying words like pedophile to me in the hallway at school. You hear, you know, boys like whisper things like, you ain't had nothing yet. If I ever catch you, blah blah blah, then I'll show you blah blah blah. And then one day, you know, so they always throw these arguments at me. And then one day, I'm walking across the campus, and one of them says some shit to me, and I'm like angry, and I'm like, fuck man, and I respond. And he responds, and then the other one starts saying something, and I'm like cussing him out, like, y'all are a bunch of like fucking fucks, you know, you just afraid I'm gonna fuck a girl and she's gonna like have a better time, and that really like going at them. And one of them pulls my backpack, And I go after him in the backpack, and before you know it, I'm inside the bathroom when there are 12 of them around me, and they sexually assault me, and I come out of that and I say to myself, I don't want to be in Jamaica. So I said to myself, I am coming to America, because America has the anthem that says the home of the brave, the land of the fucking free, so I'm going to go there and be free, right? I'm going to like pick up my courage and go to be there, right? Because that's where freedom is manufactured. So I'm going to be where, like, you know, it's like China for like plastic goods now, right? It's like America for freedom, right? So I fucking moved to America. I don't know what the fuck I thought. Me and the fucking 8 white lesbians who live on Fifth Avenue were gonna be like flitting down. I live on Fifth Avenue and I'm like, oh fuck, shit, I forgot I'm black. Shit, man, somebody should have fucking told me that before I moved. I might have moved to like, I don't know, where's the Black Haven for gayness? Toronto? Yeah, because it's not cold up here. It's not that, yeah, there's a little descent, y'all need to get your story straight. Trying to say. So anyways, like, I mean, I got to the US and I was like very like deeply disappointed with like the race politics I found there. And a woman invited me to the New Rican Poets Cafe and then she didn't come. She didn't meet me. Not like we had sex and she didn't come. She didn't. And I kind of got into poetry. And like I was there that night and I think Sarah Jones was performing that night and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening in this place? I want to do it too. So I took out my journal and I ran up to the microphone and I did my little poem, like something like, I want to be in, I'm a woman with like breasts and breasts are great. Yes! And then everybody was like, at the end of the night, like, yeah! And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And so I hooked up with like a bunch of like crazy anarchist, Lower East Side, crazy motherfucking poets with the different color hair and with the fucking head shaved sideways. Just weird ass inclusive politics, and I kind of belong to them. Like there are like people who are like trans, there are people who are black and like, you know, they were like, you know, born again Christians who believe in like freedom and truth. And then you had like fucking, I don't know, there's a whole range of motherfuckers, like, you know, there's a girl in there who like, you know, she liked to, whenever she wrote a poem, she would like stroke her pet turtle. Weird ass motherfucker. One night I went to a poetry reading where the person who performed before me was the person who was like swallowing live goldfish. And I know there are fucking Peter people in the audience, but I don't say this lightly, I frown on it. And then the person who performed after me was like a gay man, like with only like foil on his penis. That's what he was wearing. Like maybe like you know, like a 12-inch strip of foil wrapped around his penis. So there was a girl who was like eating like swallowing goldfish live, and every time she swallowed one, the crowd would roar. It's kind of like Rome in the Colosseum, you know. And you know. And then, you know, the man who came after him, I went up and did my poem, and people were like, whoa! And then, like, the next person was like, you know, just, I want to say he was dancing, but I wouldn't. But all he was wearing was a piece of foil, and I was just, I was in deep admiration for his bravery, you know? So I came off the stage and then there was a girl like who was dressed in like a lizard outfit slithering around on the floor. You are familiar with these places in Toronto. I've seen the motherfucking like spaces. Anyway, so that's how I became a poet. And now like you know, I don't really know what to do, what to read, but I have like a stack of poems up there. How are you doing? And you're hearing me okay and you're managing the heat? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is like the coolest day of summer. Yeah. 3 white lesbians that made up the LGBT public image. So when I just came to New York and I came out as a lesbian, they were like, oh shit, we need like some like, you know, brown people who, you know, are gay too. So I got kind of caught up in the I get caught up in that that time, and so like every time they needed like a brown lesbian, they'd be like, come, be on the thing so that they won't cuss us that like there's been no like brown lesbians. So I became kind of well known, and then I did a Broadway show, and then so I was kind of like in the space where I was getting a little bit of attention for being like lesbian and being black and all of that. So I was kind of sexy at the time, and I was getting mad ass. So I was like pretty like I was going around like having a lot of sex, like I feel like I'm pretty like I haven't had a lot of lovers, but then now when I'm counting back I'm like, oh jeez, you've been busy, because I'm a serial monogamist, so like for 3 months I'm only fucking one person, and then it's over and then like I fuck another person for like the next 3 months, and then the next 3 months I fuck somebody else again. So like I've been pretty good at like not crossing over except for maybe once or twice, but basically I've been like a good I've been like a good lesbian, where I've had like intense, like, monogamous, like intense, heavily, negotiative kind of stages. So I was like a happy lesbian, I was like, getting asked from Atlanta, DC, like, now and then, a little thing from Toronto would happen, like just like really wonderful 20s, like just out there and like sexy and like knowing myself and feeling good about myself. Look, that was my glory decade. And then I looked up and I was 35, and I was like, fuck man, I want a kid. And I mean, those of you who are like straight up lesbians know that we don't really happen up on jugs of sperm, you know what I mean? It doesn't really happen. We don't really walk by the window and be like, yo, I forgot I had this hair. So it's like a hunt, you know what I mean? It's like a hard fucking hunt. So I hunted for some sperm, and it was like, you would think that it would be easy to get some of this shit, like that. Men leave this fucking fluid. They leave it in their socks. They leave it on like the side of like the wall. Like maybe they go sideways. This happens. Like they leave it on the backs of strangers they will never see again. This fluid is everywhere, and I was only looking for a capsule and could not find it. Everybody I asked, they were like, oh, because I must have been asking like the most sensitive motherfuckers on the planet. Yeah. Think about it. I'm not sure how I feel about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, just jack off like once and just give it a condom. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, Jesus, Nobody, everybody's like getting all intense and like personal about the fucking sperm. Couldn't get sperm for the life of me. Finally figured it out, got some sperm, and got preggers. And I'm on bed rest. I had like a big fucking scare. Like I came up here to visit y'all motherfuckers and woke up with like blood all over the bed. And just terrible, horrible pregnancy. So this is just before the birth time. This one's called Motherfucking Miracles. Hashtag Motherfucking Miracles. 11 days before my due date, I'm as graceful as a duck, as big as a cow. It is 10 a.m. when I walk in for my regular weekly sonogram. I relax back into the special OBGYN chair, stick my feet into the familiar stirrups, and exhale. The technician runs the wand over my bursting belly. She takes one look at the screen and says, Miss Chen, your amniotic fluid is too low. We're going to have to induce right now. Much like death, the process of birth makes no allowance for individual readiness. So without my overnight bag, without my doula, without the ugly nightgown my friends had chosen for me to labor in, I am whisked out of the doctor's office, down the hall and onto the labor and delivery ward. And this is how on the afternoon of January 5th, 2012, I found myself thousands of miles from where I grew up, propped up on the most uncomfortable hospital bed, breathing steadily through mild contractions and watching the YouTube video of Jamaica's first female Prime Minister, Portia Simpson Miller, being sworn in. 2 miracles are actually happening. 1, the child inside my uterus who had threatened miscarriage 26 times is finally on her way. And 2, Jamaica's most powerfully elected official is on television taking a human rights stance in support of its LGBT community. As is the custom of our time, I send a text to my friends and I update my Facebook status. I'm going into labor and Jamaica's Prime Minister Portia Simpson is speaking out for gay rights. Hashtag talk about motherfucking miracles. I grip the metal rails of the bed and try not to focus on how the Prime Minister's words make me regret leaving Jamaica. In no time, Patricia arrives, magical doula bag in hand. So does Nkrumah, my BFF. Maziki brings the suitcase and the iPod loaded up with Indigo Girls, Sarah McLachlan, and Tracy Chapman. You sure you want to do this without drugs, my friend Nkrumah asks? Nkrumah, I say. This promises to be the most life-altering event I will ever experience. I want to be completely present for it. I want to remember every single detail of it. The first big contraction rips through me from bowel to ribcage, and I'm immediately aware that I completely underestimated this whole thing. The second one comes, and I double over, muttering an inappropriate line from an Eminem song. This homophobic white boy's obscene lyric instantly becomes a mantra as I chant through the contractions. I set my iPod on an Eminem loop, and I raise both my fingers to the gods of childhood. I'm beginning to appreciate the miracle it is that women continue to do this shit generation after generation after fucking generation. My own grandmother did it 8 times. I know I will never do this shit again. I can neither sit nor stand nor lie nor cry out to escape this pain. All I can do is breathe and repeat the mantra over and over again. The nurse comes in and tells Patricia and Nkrumah, can you please get her to lower her voice and stop saying the F word so many times? You tell her yourself, my friend. The nurse takes one look at me standing on top of the bed screaming, fuck this shit! And immediately leaves the room. I am being split open from the pit of my groin to the center of my back. I wish my belly would just tear itself open and release the captive to stop this infernal battering of the insides. I'm now 10 hours in. It's January 6th. I'm only 5 of the 10 centimeters I need to be dilated in order to deliver this fucking baby. Nkrumah is blowing on my toes. What the fuck are you doing? I ask him. He quietly moves over to the other side to rub my shoulders. What the fuck are you doing? I ask him. Why did you stop blowing on my fucking toes? In an attempt to distract me, Nkrumah asks, what do you think of the Prime Minister's statements, eh? I wait through the contraction. Well, her position directly contradicts that of the predecessor. Ooh, it's almost as if she's like responding to him in a debate, right? Hear what she say again? He presses replay on the iPhone. Our administration believes in protecting human rights of all Jamaicans. No one should be discriminated against because of sexual orientation. The government should provide protection. Yeah. Yes, she's pushing the movement forward. Look like things are really changing now. Ooh. And if Jamaica can give birth to a fucking government-sanctioned gay rights movement, I can certainly push out this fucking baby. 17 hours in and I'm only 6 centimeters dilated. My doctor suggests the epidural. I heartily fucking agree. 5 hours later, 22 hours after the first contraction, 100 nurses and doctors rush into my room, all carrying tubes and needles and worried expressions. The labor isn't progressing, they say. The baby's heartbeat is spiking. It's time to do a C-section. I no longer care how this happens. More than I've ever wanted anything in my life, I want a safe landing for my kid. I'm spitting and retching when they wheel me into the operating room, vomiting so violently they have to give me medication to make it stop. They erect the curtain that would prevent me from watching them slice my abdomen from hip to hip. I feel my body relax. It's really the oddest sensation to be awake, to feel them manipulate your flesh, separate your muscles, tear your body open, to quickly pull her body up and out of yours. Her name means vulnerable, resilient, for love. I wanted my child's name to carry echoes of a prayer. A prayer to the warrior woman who came ahead of her, ahead of me, the Madonnas, the whores, the mad women in attics, the virgins who were never really virgins except when they needed to be smart women. Make your own list of saints, my daughter, fondle it often, this rosary of Amazonian nomenclature. My body has already forgotten the times you threatened to fall clots of bread from my inadequate uterus. Me, praying to a God I'm not quite sure I ever believed in, making promises I knew I could not keep, if only you could be safe. My own mother left me so early, left me inside a closed circle of unforgiving women who never expected me to ripen well. They used to always say the apple never falls far. Watch that tree, it will come to new fruit. Look at you now. But look at you now, daughter. Shiny, red, apple, tomato baby. It is my intention to be so different with you. I can hardly wait to hear your voice. I expect us to rumble, to wrestle, to create generational bruises that will have to be survived. Please forgive me, my daughter, for the sins I know will stain your childhood, send you to some stranger's expensive couch to thrash out how your mother never loved you or how she loved you too much. I hope you'll be able to breathe through it. Not unlike the way I breathed through your coming. Oxygen mask over mouth. I mumbled the list of saints I kept ready. Audrey Lorde, I said, Adrian, Rich, Jude, Jordan. I called out loud for Pat Parker, for my grandmother Bernice. Your heart pulsed wild, rapid dance, forcing them to immediately slice me open. And suddenly you were here, wide-eyed and alert. You surveyed the damage and did not blink. I remember thinking, what the fuck do I do now? What the fuck do I do now? What the fuck do I do now? Woo. Around Zuri. She spends 12, some days 14 hours a week. And I take her everywhere with me. The supermarket, the park, brunch, post office, the bank, everywhere. I cannot cuss all day. Cursing is kind of my way of getting rid of my emotional toxins. I'm gonna be myself. I don't want this motherhood thing to like take all my swagger. I certainly don't want to become one of those fucking dorky parents screaming, fudge, 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 when they stub their toe on some plastic toilet in the middle of the living room floor. So now, this is me on the phone, all day long chatting it up. What the fuck did I expect women to do? I mean, we're socialized to have sex when men want it, we're sluts if we walk around with condoms, the fucking anti-abortionists started up in arms over the fucking morning after pill. Fuck. When these women have babies they don't need or didn't want in the first place, nobody wants to help with fucking health insurance or education. Not even fucking milk. Jesus Christ, no matter how you get pregnant, you should be able to get some fucking food, right? Right. I watch Zuri for signs of trauma. Vindicated by a lack of response, I think to myself, another conservative myth exploded. Another win for hippie liberal parenting. Now I'm cussing every fucking where. The only place I don't cuss is the fucking beauty salon. I love walking into that calm, welcoming space. The arms of my pedicurist Ming, the Korean woman everyone thinks is Chinese. She smiles kindly at Zuri and ushers me gently towards the massage chair. Zuri sits on my lap while Ming works her magic on my tired, overworked feet. Head back, eyes closed, muscles unknotting. I allow the magic of Ming's fingers to take me away. Zuri is whispering something. I can't quite make out what she's saying. And she gets louder. My eyes pop open. The woman beside me is looking at us with disbelief. Because I don't want to snore the fucking child, I make sure my voice has no alarm in it. Zuri, honey, can you please stop saying that word so loudly? Her volume is only increasing. More people are looking at me. Even Ming is embarrassed. I am officially ashamed of the kid. Zuri, I say. Zuri Chen. Zuri Zuri. She's now screaming at the top of her lungs, making a song of it. I have no idea what to do. My nails are only half done. But she's still wet, and it's winter outside. Zuri, who now realizes she's the center of attention, renews her commitment to the performance. Completely out of my depth, I say the first thing that comes to mind. You want a fork, Zuri? Is that what you need, a fork? No, Mama, I don't need a fork. I just want a spoon. Okay. I reach into the bag and quickly grab the spoon and hand it to her. I don't look to see what the other patrons are doing. I close my eyes and wonder if maybe I should start whispering when I'm in the presence of my kid cussing like a goddamn son of a bitch motherfucker. Today, my friend Sandra agrees to watch Zuri. For exactly 1 hour, she reminds me that she is not able to do so for more than an hour, while I watch her reading at the Brooklyn Public Library. These days with the kid, I'm almost always broke, so I can't say no to any gig, even one as low as the Brooklyn Public Library. On my way out the door, on CNN, I see a poet I knew from the New Yorker being interviewed about stop and frisk. He's an actor now, one of those stars in a brand new cop show. I take a deep breath and tell myself, Staceyann, you doing okay? You're holding your own. Keys in hand, I dash through the rain to my car. I see the glass shards before I see the space where the fucking window was. Fuck, man. Now I'm going to be late for my almost free gig, and this shit is going to cost me money I don't have. The pounding rain is already cooling onto the floor of the car. I can't even see the mats anymore. I'm so mad. Mad about being late, mad about the window, mad about the fucking gig I had agreed to do, mad about the fuckers getting roles on new TV shows while I am struggling with money. I'm suddenly mad at everybody and everything. At the library for being underfunded, at the government for not giving us more help. Single mothers and pregnant women who have no help from anyone else. But to be honest, mostly I'm just mad at myself for thinking that being a poet was a good fucking career choice for anyone who wanted to fucking afford anything. Now I have to call and tell Sandra she has to babysit Zuri for longer than the hour she insisted on. I hate breaking my fucking word, man. When the cops come, a young woman and a young man and a woman about 40, they ask if anything is missing. I tell them there was fucking nothing to take. A couple of diapers, a couple of copies of the book I wrote. There was absolutely fucking nothing in there. Why the fuck would they break a window of a car that has nothing in there? Every question they ask, I answer, and then I shout, fuck. I'm a little worried if they can arrest me for saying fuck so much, but they just stand there looking sympathetic and waiting as I say fuck, and fuck over again. How far is your gig? The 40-year-old woman asks. Not far, I say. Fucking Grand Army Plaza. How late are you? Very fucking late, I say. Okay, we'll take it, just hop in. And then she turns on the flashing lights, and that's how I end up in the back of a New York City cop car, lights flashing, riding on the wrong side of the road in the rain, courtesy of the fucking NYPD. As I watch the city speed by, it dawns on me how ridiculous my day has been. And just like that, my anger just dissipates. I find my manners, of course, and I tell the two police officers how much I appreciate their help. It is only then that the woman says to me that years ago, she took a straight woman who was in a bad situation with a brute of a man on a first date to my one-woman show. The girl was so moved by the show and so turned on by the sex bombs that she fucked my good Samaritan cop like silly afterwards. And then she went home and left the abusive husband. My Samaritan cop was in the closet then, so she had never told anyone the story. But she always wanted to thank me. So thank you, she says. Fuck. That is fucking amazing. When I throw open the doors of the library, my spine is a ramrod straight. So what if I don't have my own fucking TV show? I mean, what the fuck if I'm broke? My fucking work creates an atmosphere in which women are unabashedly bringing each other to multiple orgasms. snippets of the show from that's coming out in the fall. It's called Mother Struck. Cynthia Nixon is directing, and Rosie O'Donnell is producing. So you really should make it. Give us some support on that. I have one more poem for you, and then
Some questions.
some questions, right? Right. And then you'll buy. How many books do you have over there?